Hello, welcome to the last day of Oliver's Sheets Week, a 5-day series designed to improve educators' productivity and efficiency by leveraging the power of Google Sheets. Today is all about the query formula. This is a super powerful formula that allows you to pull data from one spreadsheet or one part of a spreadsheet into another based on conditions. Now, I initially learned this when I was organizing a district-wide professional development where teachers were signing up for different courses via Google Form. And the query formula allowed me to take all of that source data and sort it based on the course selection and eventually print out a sign-up sheet. So my registrations were always sorted and live because of the query formula that I set up in advance. Now, back as a classroom teacher, I've used this with my team. We have one tab in Google Sheets that's our source data. And then in subsequent tabs, through using the query formula, we're able to sort that data out by teacher or some other condition. I know some people prefer the import range formula over the query formula, and as it does a similar function. However, I just learned the query formula first, and so that's the one I always go back to. Again, I've linked a spreadsheet with some sample data down below for you to copy and follow along. Let's get started. Let's talk about this spreadsheet. Here's my source data. Think of this as your primary source data. If you're using a Google form to collect your information, all your data would be in this tab. If you're hand entering your data, you would be putting all your data here and doing any edits in the source data tab. Now you'll notice I've added another tab at the bottom called grade 3. It already has the query formula and is pulling only the data about grade 3. You'll notice in cell A1, this tab already has the query formula and is pulling the data only about grade 3 from the previous source data tab. Now, full disclosure, I never type a query formula from scratch. It's too long and hard to remember. I always copy and paste the formula from an existing spreadsheet and just modify it because I understand how the formula works. Let me explain the query formula so you'll be able to modify it within another tab. So starting off, we have the equal query. Now the source data in single quotes, that's telling the formula where to look. So notice that matches the name of the tab where all my source data is. So the name of the tab is contained in those single quotes. And then there's an exclamation point, and I have A:(I). That A:(I) is telling the formula to look in the source data tab and look in columns A through I. Now there's a comma. Now in double quotes, I'm telling the query formula, after it's looked in the source data tab from column A through I, to select columns A, B, C, F, and H. So I want those columns, and I want them in that order, but only where F contains 3. And notice that 3 is in single quotes. So if I go back to my source data, you can see F column is my column that contains grade level. So in that query formula, I've told it to look at this tab, all these columns A through I, and I want them to pull only those certain columns, but only if they are in grade 3 in column F. And then I've got a comma, and then this 1 tells it that there's a header row, and I want it to pull in the headers. So you'll notice I still have that last name, first name, teacher, grade level, and assignment 2. And here's where the modification can come. If I put these in a different order. Like let's do H and then B. Let's just switch those. So I'm switching H and B and I'm going to hit enter. Notice it just moves the data around. So you can manipulate this however you want. So now let's try to apply it. Instead of doing a grade level, let's do a teacher. So first we're going to add a new tab and let's call this Dumbledore. So we're going to rename this tab Dumbledore because I only want to pull the information for Dumbledore's students. Rather than trying to memorize all the quotation marks, commas in the formula, copy an existing formula and we're going to paste it in A1. So right now it matches the previous one, okay? But really what we want to do is sort for Dumbledore. So I'm going to go to my source data and Dumbledore is in column C. So I still want this data. I'm going to put the B and the H back in order. But now I'm going to do it where C, because that's where Dumbledore is contained. And I'm just going to type in Dumbledore, then hit enter. Now I only have the students in Dumbledore. Now one thing to be aware of, notice here I have Mickey Mouse, Chicken Little, and then Jiminy Cricket. They are not in order here. So notice if I try to sort this, it will sort and then it will go back because again it's pulling from that data and it's pulling in that order. So if my source data tab is sorted and now it's an ABC order and I go back to Dumbledore, this is now sorted. This is now sorted in order. If let's say for a particular assignment, let's do assignment 2, I wanted to sort that data. Then grade 3, again, I'm going to have it, my assignment 2 is sorted, and here my assignment 2 is sorted. Now you have a copy of the query formula and an understanding of how it works. I'll be interested to learn how you apply the query formula in your work. If you like this content, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone.